Welcome to the Cloud Council. With us is Rich Corbridge, currently the CIO of Boots. Rich, it's a big role and an organisation with a rich legacy. What were your first impressions on joining, really?
Yeah, I've been at Boots a couple of years now, initially as the Innovation Director and in the last 6 months as the CIO. The initial impressions of Boots, because of the leadership team, was they were on an exciting journey, on a journey of change, on a journey of really putting the customer at the centre of everything. But probably most importantly was a realisation that 2,500 bricks and mortar stores throughout the UK weren't enough to offer the customer experience in 2020, 2021. And that a digital capability above and beyond buy stuff on a website was absolutely necessary. Boots is one of the oldest loyalty organisations in UK retail with the ad card, and being able to turn that into a digital capability is still a really strong ambition for Boots. How can it turn that into something that really makes the organisation sticky? You know, with a history in healthcare myself, being able to move from healthcare and into a retailer that cares so strongly about its customers and the population of the UK and Ireland has made the transition easier as well, and something that's been really, really exciting to do.
I think the other part that Boots hold as a unique high street feature is the trust that people have in them on the grounds that it's a healthcare and pharmacy provider. I mean, that must be something in mind when you're moving into dealing with customers on an online environment.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we are listed as one of the most trusted brands on the high street and deliver huge amounts of healthcare. During COVID, during the crisis that we've had, Boots has been synonymous with so many of the things that we've really put at the centre of trying to do to try and support the NHS in its fight against COVID and the drive in the right direction. So whether that's testing frontline workers initially through Boots colleagues in Boots capacity, or helping the NHS 111 service with pharmacists, or moving GPs online, offering physiotherapy online. We've tried to, wherever the NHS or any public health organisations needed help, we've tried to be there and offer as much support as we can.
And in terms of how customers engage, and I know as we are having this conversation, it's not easy for people to go out. We are in a lockdown situation, but there's a very distinct difference between the online journey and the in-store journey, and that accounts for also how people purchase. Can you just give us a bit of a flavour of the differences and then how you approach that kind of mindset differently for the customer?
I think, and what's interesting there, Andy, is that's almost one of our goals, is to try and remove as many of those differences as possible and try and create that what's largely termed as an omni-channel experience. But the difference is, browsing online, having a look through products to decide what to buy is so much harder. And how do you try and create that capability where people can just wander around a digital store looking for a thing that they don't know they really want is very difficult. And that's where that personalization of what the site looks like, what the site's put in front of people is really important, so that you're not lost on a website looking for something you don't know you want, but you're actually presented with things that you've been interested in or may inspire a new interest. So there's a big part in there. I think as we do get back into store, as we try and move to a place where people are both online and physically in store, we want to try and blur those lines as much as possible. I've seen something online and I want to be able to go in store, find it easily, take it, literally walk out the store having just bought it on my phone, on the app as I'm going through that. Then another big part of Boots is that, my son's ill and I want to go and get some advice. I can't get to the GP, so I'm going to go to the back of Boots in Leeds and talk to the pharmacist and find out what they think. Trying to replicate that capability online so that we're still an organisation that people's come for free healthcare and wellness advice and guidance before they step into the healthcare system is something we're really trying hard with, speak to a pharmacist on video online, speak to a chat room. Our ability now in a partnership with Macmillan means that you can now, if a member of your family is ill, has cancer, you can speak to a Boots pharmacist about diet, about beauty products, about different things they could try, vitamins, wellness regimes, all related to cancer and all done through the virtual platforms, which I think is hugely important during the crisis, during lockdowns that we've had.
I mean, it almost feels overwhelming, and I guess any aspiring CIO who is watching this would love to know how you literally approach these problems? It doesn't come into the inbox and you write a solution and pass it out the other side. How are you approaching these in terms of your time, in terms of the resources you've got available, in terms of colleagues, and I guess prioritizing this within the C-suite? Are you having to drive hard? Is it something that you just articulate and get people to buy into your vision, or is it a piece by piece approach?
It's definitely a piece by piece approach. That unfortunately, in some ways, those point solutions and what we've done in 2020 as problems have risen, we've worked out how to fix each issue and push them out there. We have this idea, which is a theory that we've been pushing away at for a long time, around collaborative sense making. So bringing people together who can make sense of problems in a collaborative way. So we really strongly have pushed what's WBA, the group that Boots is part of, calls the platform business. But they don't mean the traditional IT platform. They mean the platforms of how we engage customers. So a healthcare platform, a supply chain retail platform, and then a customer platform. And we use those three definitions, those zones of bringing together product managers, the technologists, the engineering capacity, the partners that we work with, the Cognizants, the IBMs, etc., and bringing those to those platforms so that we drive through the changes of what we're doing and how we make those happen.
And in terms of that transformation, and please, I get into deep water when we talk about sprints and those kind of things. Are you working in that sort of mindset that you're running smaller projects that feed into the bigger mission?
We are, but my head of engineering, whether it's his phrase or not, he's the first person I ever heard say, describes what we do as being wagile. It's part waterfall and part agile. And that sometimes has left us a little bit sticky, because we have, our contracting methodology for delivery is a price in mind at the beginning, which is not particularly conducive to agile as we try and work through sprints and where we want to get there. We have found ways to make it work for us, but it's been a difficult journey. When you talk about healthcare in Boots, over the last 2 years, Agile's been heavily adopted as the route to deliver technology through partners that we've worked with. But when we get to retail and the .com site and e-commerce, Agile's very new there. So I'm running 3 platforms of engagement that have different acceptances of an agile way of working. But then also when we look at finance or HR in Boots, they are not agile. And that kind of can really make it more difficult when you're trying to explain, I need resource or funding for a sprint. And they're going, no, when's the return on investment? When are we going to roll the resource on and the resource off, rather than the more open governance to agile and the way that works. So we've got a long way to go.
Very excited about this. Rich Corbridge, these are your binary questions. Saver or spender?
Spender.
Steve Jobs or Bill Gates?
Bill Gates.
Gunslingers or collaborators?
Collaborators.
Soft Southerners or Northern Powerhouse?
Definitely Northern Powerhouse.
Netflix or cinema?
Netflix.
Shakespeare's sonnets or Eminem's rhymes?
Oh, Eminem.
Social media or a lunchtime social?
A lunchtime social, desperately.
Tesla or Ferrari?
Tesla.
And just for you, a lazy Sunday or a happy Monday?
A happy Monday.
Fantastic. Those are your binary questions. And not specific to Boots, this is just in your broad experience. And again, to share with our audience who are thinking, I've experienced some of those HR, budgetary, technology problems. Where do you think the greatest resistance is in moving forward with IT and its function within a business? Is it just about money? Is it maybe about skills that are available in particular regions? Where do you feel that resistance is, and how can it be overcome?
So I think the resistance is different in every organization I've worked for, but ultimately it does come down to how is IT tracked from a budget line point of view? Is it an expense or is it an investment? So in Boots, where I am now, it's an investment in the future. It's a foundation to change. It's part of transformation. It must be invested in. in NHS organisations I've been in, it's an expense line that needs to be saved, or it's an expense line that's in competition with something that the organisation feels is more important. And I've spoken before, relatively sadly, as the CIO of Leeds Teaching Hospital, at a board we were asked to make a decision about investing in upgrading to Windows X to remove a cybersecurity issue, or buying a fire alarm for one of the hospital sites A&E. And as a board, you kind of push to make a decision about which is more important, the fire alarm or the cybersecurity capacity of an NHS organisation. Which was the next day when you wake up and realise you've had to make a decision to leave a risk in a hospital in favour of a fire alarm, you realise how transformational IT budget has yet to get in the NHS, and how it is still very much a cost centre and a line to be saved from to spend on other things. You could say really clearly that that was a decision that had to be made, but we shouldn't be put in that kind of situation. We shouldn't be making those choices still.
Well, that's a lovely way to end it, and thank you. That's a great analogy of the value, the huge value of technology in all businesses. I know on other episodes you're going to be sharing with us some thoughts about how technology is going to play out in the future, consent of data, and also how we interact with technology both in and out of work and home. So thank you very much again for your time, Rich Corbridge.